Let's see. All right, and we're live.
Yo, 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 what's up?
Good morning.
What's
Good
going
morning.
on? Good
I'm,
morning.
I'm on here with the fellas. Don't y'all gang up on me. But you know what? I wore my jogging suit. I'm ready for y'all today.
No, we good. Everything's
Yep,
all
yep.
good.
Well, I'll go ahead and kind of kick us off. I'm kind of excited about today. It's a lot that's been going on in Metro Nashville public schools. Last week we had our organizing team on here just talking about things that were going down. Last night we had a school board meeting. They talked about a timeline. They talked about a couple of things. And one of the people we wanted to bring on today is Jermaine Dunlap. I met Jermaine all the way back at Tennessee State University. I've heard Jermaine out through the years. He's very opinionated. I've heard him on the Kenny Smooth Morning Show. I've seen him in drag out Facebook battles, but just wanted to bring him on the show and kind of give his opinion. But before we start off, Sonya, I wanted to go back to you. Like, how have you been holding up for this 7th week of school? Like, how has this time affected your family?
Well, I have two children who are in school. One is in 8th grade, and the other is in high school in the 12th grade at Hunters Lane. And my son goes to Liberty. Then I have a college student too. So we've had all dynamics in our house, right? Like each level of schooling. And I'll tell you, it's really hard for some children to engage. I have one child who is doing fairly well and seems to be okay with virtual school. And then I have another one who's just really kind of having trouble, like engaging in getting the drive. I mean, because it's a totally different skill set, right? And so I feel like I've had all worlds happen in my house, and for some reason God chose me for that to happen, and to be able to advocate for parents and to also be a relator to the parents in our city, and to be understanding and be able to connect with them when they have their concerns. So we're holding up okay, John.
Okay. And Jermaine, I'll go to you. Just how you've been holding up with your family. I know you got your kids. Some of your kids are in MNPS, but how have you been holding up on this 7th week?
Man, we're holding up very well. We still living. We not here. We not existing. We still moving forward. We taking precautions. We doing our proper things. And I do have I have a son that will be on the latter end as far as really have to take precautions because he has a kidney issue. But just like anything in life, we still living. So we pushing forward.
Yeah, black folk, we can't have. We always have to endure adversity, right, Jermaine?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And let's get to it. I know we already talked about the college, but what are some of the things that you're up to? I saw you got a restaurant that practices wellness. Of course, I saw your piece, but how has everything else been going for you on a personal level outside of the family?
Who you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah. So I'm the owner of New Day Smoothie Cafe, Hardin Place, right inside Fitness 1440. And to be honest with you, it's definitely going pretty good. In this time, everyone wants to talk about the pandemic and being healthy. Well, the first thing as far as the pandemic is your immune system. So people got to get serious about their health, and people are starting to get more serious about their health. It's so funny. Here I am at a gym and trying to get healthy right across the street is a KFC. So, it's like, hey, if you're really serious about the pandemic, then let's talk about your health. Let's talk about your immune system, getting the right stuff. So I can truly say I'm truly blessed in this pandemic. We're definitely blessed.
Okay. And Sonya, like, do you want to talk about some of the things that are going on? I know we're going to jump into a couple issues. We want to talk about the phase-in timeline as we think about after fall break in the second semester. We want to talk about sports, what's big on the horizon. They're talking about Pearl-Cohn versus Hillsborough this Friday, and then the survey results of parents who want to go back to school and parents who don't, but also the teachers. But Sonya, you want to jump into it, give any shout outs?
Oh, of course. Like, I always want to shout out our parents. Shout out cohort 5 who is graduating, and some people don't know what we mean by when we say cohort. And so our mission is to organize parents, and we are developing parents into powerful leaders here in Nashville. And so when you're developing people, you train them. And so we train them on the landscape of education, and we give them the knowledge of the landscape. MNPS has been a school system for decades. And it's been a troubled school system, and many people don't know the history of education right here in our city. They don't know about the segregation and all of those things that still is happening. And so we make sure that our parents are knowledgeable of the past so that we can change the future through changing the educational policies and practices here in Nashville public education. So congratulations to cohort 5 on your graduations. And I want to say welcome to our new fellows, cohort 6, as you're enrolling into our program.
Cool. I always say cohort 5 is going to keep it alive. This pandemic didn't keep us down. We have graduated or about to graduate a great group. And so you guys keep up the good work. But now, Sonia, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's talk about this school board meeting last night. They started off, I saw the agenda. First thing on the agenda was Dr. Battle's updates to parents and grandparents and MNPS. But what are you guys' thoughts about this phase-in timeline? I think this week, they've been phasing in students who may have an individual education plan. After fall break, they're going to start phasing in, I want to say K through 2, and then it's going to continue to go until they get to January when they finally phase in the high school kids. But what are you guys' thoughts about this phase-in timeline?
Jermaine, I'll let you go because I always got plenty to say, and I don't want to take up too much space.
Well, I think what we have to do is I'm okay with the phase-in time. And the reason why I'm okay is we're living in times that we've never ever lived in, right? So we got to figure something out. We got to figure. It seems like everybody feels like they have the answers. Heck, the people in DC don't even have the answers. So at the end of the day, I do believe in the phases that they have going on, but also being the largest school system in the state of Tennessee, I personally feel that there's some other school systems that are doing it very well, and I can't speak to the information that Dr. Battle and her staff is getting, but I feel like there could be better opportunities that present themselves based on some of the other school systems that are around Tennessee that I have researched and got some good feedback from. But at the end of the day, I definitely think that we shall see how this goes. I like the phase in. Okay. I like the phase in process.
Okay. And Sonia, before you go, and parents, I mean, this has been an issue, I think, that's been very divided. I mean, 52 to 46 is still divided opinion on what parents should do. And so parents, as you have opinions, please let us know. But Sonia, I'll go to you.
Yeah, so MNPS reported that 54% of parents want their children to go in person, and 46% of the parents would like for their children to stay virtual. And so I am a parent that understands that when we don't have a choice, we die as Black and brown people. And so I think it's important for parents to have a choice. However, I will say this, that choice has to be a real choice. And to have a real choice means that you are educated on the subject matter so that you can make the proper decision. And so as parents are making the choice to whether to go in person or to stay virtual, it's important that they understand all of the issues surrounding both so that they make a decision in where they don't have regret. And so as far as parents who want to go in person, safety is an issue. I mean, you've got a large number of MNPS workers who are not even in school. Like, the report of the numbers of those people is a high number for school to just be virtual. So parents, just be cognizant of that type of information. Demand to have the numbers in your school. Demand to have the exact process in which your children are going to enter those buildings from the time that they get on those school buses to the time they get off of them. And as far as virtual learning, parents who are going to remain in virtual learning, you have to demand that virtual learning is of quality. and that it is meaningful, and that there's equity and there's equality in it, and making sure that children who are learning in person and in virtual are getting the same thing. Otherwise, somebody breaking the law.
Mm-hmm. Somebody breaking the law. Yeah, go ahead, Jermaine.
No, I mean, what she says is I can agree with it. It sounds good, but and I love the tenacity behind it. But you can't even get parents to go to PTO meetings.
Oh, wait a minute now. Don't start no shit, Jermaine, now.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute now. So you said, wait a minute. Because when you have a PTO meeting, a PTA meeting at 4:30, when people get off work, because I'm one of those parents. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there, because I always got to have this talk. John, excuse me. And Jermaine, ain't nothing personal to you. This is a message for everybody. I am a parent who was very involved in my son's school. Okay.
So hold up, but we can't. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead, finish.
From day one, involved in my son's school, a working mom, and have been a single parent for a long time. Doesn't mean that I don't care. Doesn't mean that I'm not attentive to my child because I can't go to a PTO and a PTA meeting. Because my child, I advocated for my child in various ways, and the system failed my child. And you know what? Some people looked at me and said, how did you not know that your son was reading on the second grade reading level? First of all, when you listen to him read, he don't sound like he can't read, right? And so when the thing I didn't know as a parent is there are several aspects. There's a science to reading, and that's decoding, that's comprehension, there's vocabulary. There's several things that go along with reading, and reading is not a natural thing for any of us to do. And so I had people to look at me and to publicly say that I was not there for my son. So when I hear people say and blame parents, I check everybody. So nothing personal, Jermaine, nothing personal. But there is a small amount of parents that I would say that don't engage, but there are a whole lot. And we've talked to thousands of them who cannot go to a PTO or a PTA meeting because they're working 2 jobs. But it doesn't mean that they don't care, and it doesn't mean that they're not involved. And one of the words that I can't stand is, and not saying this to you, Jermaine, but I hear elected officials, I hear city leaders say parent engagement. What does that mean? They
okay, can I go now?
Yes,
so,
you can go.
You've been on a no. So you've been on if I'm correct before, you've been on a PTA board, right? You did say that, right?
My best friend was a PTA president.
No, stop. I'm asking, have you personally been on the PTA board?
Have not been on the PTA board.
Okay. Listen, I have. And the reason why I asked that is I love the energy, but at the end of the day, you're right. One of my sons a couple of years ago went to can't even think, Cane Ridge Elementary. I was on the PTA board. John, 4:30, 5 o'clock is when they have it. I said that was unacceptable. I went to the principal with the board members. We went to the principal. Guess what? We got that changed. So we can blame it on the administrator, but that's what the PTA board is for, is to stand in the place for you as a mother, a single mother working 2 jobs. So the PTA board at that school is not doing their job. So I agree with you, but I got with the principal. This is unacceptable. We will not be having 3:30, 4:30, 5:15. It needs to start.
Can you get with the school board? Can you get with the school board?
Oh, no. I don't have to get with the school board. I'm getting with the school, because at the end of the day, it's the individual principal that is over that school who can easily move that. So guess what? At Cane Ridge Elementary a couple years ago, we started having meetings from starting at 5:30 all the way to 9:30 or 10 o'clock. It was 15 minutes. And how it was set up was you would have to email the teacher your top 5 questions that you have, because just like I know, people want to get in there and just talk. No, we're going to hit 3 to 5 questions. So what it comes down to, with me being on the PTA board, with me being on there, it was about effective change. We can get angry, fuss, and all that, but it's levels to this. So the thing is, I'm going to tell anybody who's listening to this right now, go to your PTA board. Say, hey, this 430 is not acceptable. So we need to get with the principal and we need to move this. We're going to work, because the last thing that a principal wants is a thorn in their side on the PTA board. Because at the end of the day, not only that, we're also the ones who are going to help fund your school. That Metro won't give you the funds for. And guess what? We raised over about $3,000 for that school. So guess what? Money talks.
Yeah.
And that principal worked with us because she wanted us to go on her behalf and make sure that funding was there. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying, I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But it's just like playing chess. You got to know how to play the board.
Mm-hmm. But this is a good point. But a lot of these schools don't even have a PTA, and it's so funny because I think it's great that you worked hard to do that. But there's still a lot of issues, such as a lot of these schools don't have PTAs. A lot of these schools, y'all raised $3,000. Hell, this schools across town raising $264,000. I done sat there with them when they said it, and so that is, to me, that's an unlevel playing field.
Well, you're totally right. But I go back to my grandmother, Mama Ellie, who's from Fayetteville, Tennessee, who could take a chicken on Sunday and make it stretch till Friday. You feel me on that? And that's the same approach that I'm going to take. If I raise 200,000 or if I raise 3,000, whatever, we're going to make it stretch. But the biggest thing is not even the money wise. It's the biggest thing is you're talking about the parent involvement. You have a very valid point. What is that? Hold up. What does that look like? The question is, with you being who you are, I'm just now meeting you, is you create the definition of what that looks like. So if I was representing you, what does parent involvement look like? What it looks like is that I have a single mother who has a son that y'all said has a reading level at the 2nd grade. So what, she works 2 jobs. So I'm going to get with you and say, okay, when can you meet with them? Hey, it may be a Saturday, but when can you meet with them? And you're going to meet with them. So guess what? I got you a 7:30 position to meet with them. And that's what we have to do. That's what parent involvement looks like. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I have 5 black sons that I want to make sure that hey, they know me at Cane Ridge High School. They know me at Thurgood Marshall. Oh, I'm making phone calls because not only do I have 5 black sons, it's God has given me the responsibility to raise other young men and young ladies in the community. So I want to be an ambassador and a lobbyist for them young people. So I'm going to make sure I don't care about your feelings. What I care about is making sure that people like you, mothers like you, have an opportunity and a heard, and that when your son graduates or whatever, and they say it's the 2nd grade, that you get every opportunity to make sure you sit down with them teachers.
I love that. I love your passion. So this is what we got to do, because we got 3 out of 4 3rd graders that cannot read on grade level. So welcome to the movement. Great. I'm looking forward. I'm glad to hear, that you're willing to help that. So we got a lot of work to do, because we got 3 out of 4 3rd grade. And with this learning loss from the COVID-19, the summer loss, the spring loss, I think we're going to have 1 out of 4 being able to read on grade level. So thank you for the partnership. We're wanting to work together to get this done. So we got a whole lot of territory meetings to set up.
Hey, well, I'm like the old saying goes, what's the best way to eat an elephant? Right? 1 bite at a time. And that's all we can do.
I don't agree with you, sir. I say we ignite a movement. We ignite a movement. Not one at a time, because I done tried that one at a time, and many of these people one at a time, and they biting off a little bit at a time. No, I say we bite off
listen to what I'm saying. I hear what you're saying, but sometimes people, when you try to eat too much, you get overwhelmed, and I think that's what's happening.
That's why you can't do it by yourself. That's why you gotta have
I agree with you. And I will say that me being a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, we are definitely about to be a presence in South Nashville. You're about to see the members of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity very present black men very present in the school systems in South
Love it.
Nashville. We have a lot of principals and assistant principals that are willing to work with us. We agree with you. It's a shame that we're the biggest area and that we have a lack of black men that are in this school system.
Man,
So
I'm glad to hear that, man. I can't wait. Like, this is exciting, Jermaine.
So that's what I mean by one bite at a time. And what we're going to do, instead of trying to take on the whole South Nashville or whole Nashville, what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 or 2 schools, adopt that, and what we're going to create a program and a system that is effective and works. And guess what? Once you have a program and a system that is effective and works, it's just like in business, a standard operating procedure. Now it can be guess what? It can educationally be franchised.
So I do have a question about that, and I know we got to move on. Can you guys make sure that you're adopting priority schools? They are our lowest performing schools. They're ranked in the bottom 5% of the state, and they're right over here in the 37208 and 37207 neighborhood. So if you don't mind, to whoever's putting that together, the 2 schools that they're adopting, that they would adopt our schools in our most struggling communities would be wonderful.
Well, we definitely have Ty Lambda, our alumni association that's over there on Clarksville Highway. If I'm correct, that is North Nashville. We'll definitely get with some representatives over in North Nashville, and John, like you say, me at Tennessee State, and here's a shame that with us having all these HBCUs and all these big time alumni chapters for Greek life, that we're not more present in the community. Yeah. And I'm going to challenge every Greek organization, and especially the members of Alpha Phi Alpha, that because I can promise you this. Every organization, even though I'm a member of Alpha, every organization has some type of national agenda in regards to education. So yes, ma'am, I hear you, and I hear you loud and clearly. We're gonna get to work.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
Yeah, and let me flip it a little bit. This morning I was going to the gym trying to get a quick workout, and somebody ran up on me and said, "Hey, like, what do you think about kids like being able to play football?" And I looked at him, and he had his kid getting out at 6 a.m. to do a workout. I knew where his mind was. I told him, parents have a right to choose. I was keeping my kid at home, and I know we're going to talk about the results, but Tasha Baker said they're installing cameras in gyms and football fields, but no information on how cleaning in schools will go or how virtual school will go for those staying at home. It seems like MNPS properties are still kind of backwards. So let's talk a little bit about this back to school, but about the sports. I think there was a protest about 2 weeks ago, and some of the people there, I saw a sign that said,
John, it wasn't no protest. It was a gathering, but go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry. There was no protest. That was smoke and mirrors. That was smoke and mirrors. There was no protest. Okay, I'm sorry, John.
You said it was a gathering. We're gonna go with gathering. There was a gathering.
There was a gathering. John, you done been to protest. Come on. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, John, we don't protest is 200 strong.
Yep. Yeah. But what I saw, and this was the first time I saw, parents who had kids in one different side, and they were saying, my kindergarten needs to go back. But I also seen a group of high school parents and high school kids who were talking about the sports aspect. And this has been a contentious point where some parents are like, if they ain't going back to school, I mean, we've been on here, if they ain't going back to school, why they need to be playing it? So how do you guys feel about the sports aspect that's coming back into MNPS this weekend with the Pearl-Cohn versus Hillsborough game?
I'm gonna let the queen go first, because I got a lot to say about that.
So check this out. I was an athlete my whole life, so I understand how important athletics are and what it means to possibly have that to be your way out, right? I totally understand that. As a matter of fact, I have a high schooler in my house right now who is being recruited to play softball. So parents, relator, connector. I actually asked this question to Dr. Battle and Dr. Jahanigan.
Alex,
when did I do that Rotary? Was that a couple of months ago?
Yeah,
before school started, there was and I used to be, first of all, I used to be a football manager for Weiss Creek. So you already know, I know what happens in practice, and I know what happens as you're getting ready for the season. And so I asked the question on purpose because they were allowing that. But school was going to be virtual. And everybody started looking around and trying to get each other to answer the question. And I just sat there and I looked because I asked what I asked. And then I've been a nurse. So Jermaine, you may not know this. I've been a licensed nurse for 24 years.
Okay? Oh, that's good.
So viruses and those types of things, I've had my experience with that, with airborne bacterias, with viruses. So I'm very familiar about transmission and those types of things. So I asked that question a while ago. And so I say that to say this. Parents they've got to make the best decision. I'm not going to tell anybody how to raise their children or how to determine their children's future. But I will tell you this. You've got to not just depend on sports coming into play, right? We don't know if things are going to get shut down again. And also, you don't know if your child going to be recruited. There are things that you got that if we waited to now at a senior year to get your child recruited, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. If you're dependent and your child has not been looked at. And so I want to go back to the education piece. As a community, there are things that you've got to do. First of all, you got to be able to read and write. And a lot of these children, I'm going to tell y'all, are not reading on grade level. They're going to go to college and they're going to have problems. So your first priority is making sure that your child is educated. Okay. The second priority is if they are going to play sports, there are things that should have happened before a pandemic, because a lot of these coaches are not able to travel depending on what's going on in their city and state. They are also not able to travel to recruit. So parents, find out the prospective colleges that you think that's going to be there for you to look at your kids. Make sure they even going to be there. The other thing is, as a school district, I think it's piss poor that people can stand up and shout about playing sports, but for 2 years we've been talking about our priority schools in our community. We've been talking about 3 out of 4 children can't read on grade level. And we still have not heard your plan for academic success. End of story. Dropping mic. Go ahead, Jermaine.
Can I pick the mic up? I just the mic is hot. The mic is hot. So here's my thoughts on that. I play sports ever since I was 7 years old. I was truly blessed to get a college scholarship. I always say this. There's people out there with master's and doctor's degree, but I'm a person who graduated with no debt because I was on a football scholarship. And for me, that's more important. But it's bigger for me because I've also been coaching for 18 years. Yes, I've been coaching for 18 years. And it's bigger. Yes, part of getting a scholarship is a huge part of it. And I can truly say I had a phenomenal senior year and it helped me out. But I also look back at it. I probably can name you 3 or 4 teachers of mine. I definitely can name you Miss Scales at Tennessee State in the marketing department. Loved her to death. She made an impact on my life. But I can name you almost every coach who was like a father figure to me. The statistics say that 3 out of 4 black boys, especially, go to prison without a father. Wait
a minute. 3 out of what?
3 out of 4.
Okay, and then wait a minute. I'm gonna stop. And then I want to connect something. And 3 out of 4 can't do what?
You said read.
They can't read on grade level. Okay. So with that being said, with us not having a spring, then summer, and we're coming into a fall, it was so important that our young boys, not just black, but young boys and athletes, get back into a structure environment. I felt that they needed to be in a structure environment. I felt like they needed to be somewhere because, as the young lady, as she was saying, was that she worked 2 jobs. There's a lot of mothers out there that work 2 jobs. There's a lot of kids who are at home that are not online. They're just on their phones. They don't have structure and discipline. Me, I coach AAU basketball. I played in 8 basketball tournaments, John.
I played 8 this summer. I told you we didn't stop. We kept moving. But what happened? But I can tell you, in the 8 places that I played were all red areas. Hint, hint, red areas. They figured out how to keep their economy going. They figured it out. You can easily say Democrat, whatever, but they figured it out. And we went to one place that, man, they literally put us in a bubble. My whole issue with the sports situation is I felt like they did not make sports a priority, and they didn't have people.
They didn't make learning a priority.
Well, I agree with that, but they definitely didn't make that, and they didn't have people. You know, I understand I have the most respect for Coach Fitzgerald, but I think there was others that I don't think leading up to this that they had people at the table to make these decisions. I felt like they wanted to. A lot of people were making I think a lot of people were making decisions that didn't have a dog in the fight. That's almost like it's the same argument of women complaining about the Senate making decisions about their body when they ain't got nothing to do with it. I felt like it was the same thing. There was people on the school board that was making decisions that didn't have a dog in the fight.
Well, wait a minute now. I got to halt you right there. The school board members did not vote on that. It was the director of school.
No. But they had input because no. Yes, they did. Yeah.
What I'm saying is they were not the decision makers. So I just want to make sure that
I get what you're saying, but who appoints the school board director? What I'm telling you, going to school board meetings, if 80% of that school board wouldn't agree with that, I promise you we would have been playing sports. You don't believe me? I can take you back to my home.
Say it again.
I can tell you if 80% of that school board said let's play, even if Dr. Battle would have said no, it was a good chance we probably would have played. But she had the backing of the school board. She had the backing of the majority of the school board who said, I agree with you, Dr. Battle. I just, in a nutshell, I just feel like
that's what they're supposed to do, right? Are you saying that they're not supposed to? Because you have one school board member that didn't, and you're saying that the other remaining board members agree with her. Is that not what they were supposed to do?
No. They're supposed to do what they feel. Yeah, they're supposed to do what they feel is right.
That's what they did, right?
No. We seen that with Dr. Joseph. They didn't agree with him and booted him out.
I think let me ask a clarified question.
Okay.
One school board member.
Okay.
Who's speaking out to say that she did not agree with Dr. Battle.
Okay. Yes.
Got 8 others that say that they agree and support her. I'm just trying to figure out where the problem is.
No, and that's okay. So I may not be clear. If that number would have been swapped, if 8 members would have said let's play and 1 member would have said not play, then we would have played. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's saying 8 agreed that we shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if that number would have been swapped, if 8 people would have said no, Dr. Battle, we're going to play, we need to play, and 1 person would have said no, then I personally feel like, because I personally know some school boards around the state of Tennessee where the superintendent was like, absolutely not. But then, I mean, it happened. I'm not gonna say because I know 1 or 2 school board members that I want to in different counties where the superintendent was like, nope, we're not gonna play. But the school boards was like, I wish we wouldn't play. See if you're gonna be here next year, and they played. So what I'm saying is that we can go around. In a nutshell, I don't want to prolong this. You asked a question, John, leading up to the Pearl Cone. I'm glad that we are playing. I'm glad that we are getting back to real life. I just think we're taking precautions. From what I'm understanding, parents are still not allowed at the games. I have a son that plays for Cane Ridge. I'm going to try to find my way to look through a gate or look online. Or
I love your tenacity.
Whatever. You'll come to find out. I'm like that scene in What's Love Got to Do with It, where Ike Turner in court when he said, "No, my daddy blood on that name." So that's my son's name. So what I will say, I am glad that we're getting back to it. I'm glad that they still have an opportunity to play, to make the playoffs and go. And I'm glad that there will be some kids that have an opportunity to get looked at, get some film, and possibly go play on the collegiate level, or. And another thing is, you'll see some people. You'll see. I was one of those. I'll raise my hand. Where honestly, if I didn't have sports, I probably would have been a 1.5 student. But considering
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with that.
But
Sports
considering
mean a lot to us.
Considering I had sports and I had a coach where I'm originally from, Tullahoma, Tennessee. I had a coach who stayed on me. I graduated with a 3.2 with a GPA. So my whole point is that I personally feel like it was an incentive to me. If I don't hit the grades, I cannot play.
Yeah, I think the scary thing for me, Jermaine, is that I think what we have to do. This is what I don't want parents to do, because I'm a parent advocate first. And so what I want parents to do, and you may be able to give some pointers to this. What are the other things that they can do? Let's just say, Jermaine, because I don't know the specifics. Like if we're going to have a full blown football season, or is it going to kind of be like limited? Are there some other things that parents can do? Like in my household for my daughter, what we did was we got some film of her working out. Especially during that time when it was real uncertain and the coaches were furloughed and could not fly around the places. And it may be like that in certain states, just depending on if they get, hot areas or whatever. We did film and we dispersed the film out to the coaches, which got us some contact. Is there other things that parents need to do in addition to what I don't like I don't take no for an answer. And that's something that I want to impress upon parents. And that's why I admire parents that are advocating. Either way, they're advocating for their children. But my question to you is, so that we're not dependent on somebody else to make sure that we have a future for our children, are there other things that parents need to be doing?
Now, are you asking in regards to sports or just getting into school?
Sports.
Well, yes.
My daughter plays softball.
I'm going to be honest with you. For parents and for athletes that already have a couple of film, this is honestly a good time for them. I help a lot of kids out right now. One kid I'm helping out. Let's just take, for example, Tullahoma, Tennessee. Jacoby Thomas is the top defensive back, and guess what? He's unbelievable. Probably the best thing in 4A right now. And you know what this time is allowing me to do right now? It's something I didn't have. I have a Twitter account now. I never had a Twitter account, right? So just as well as you can't travel, guess who else can't travel? Coaches. Guess where they're at? They're in their office. Guess what? So this what it comes down to. I'm going to date that coach, meaning every day I'm going to court, date, and contact that coach to the point where I get on that coach's nerves. Not only that, I would everybody wants to get, like, for instance, let's just say Tennessee State. Everybody knows Rod Reed, right?
Yeah.
Coach Rod Reed, but that's really who you don't want to get to. You want to go online and you want to figure out who's the high school coordinator. You want to find out who's your position coach. You want to get in good with them. It's almost the gatekeeper. You want to find the gatekeeper first. You want to send your film, get some feedback. So what I would do is parents, what I would do is I would go to huddle.com, create an account, put about 15 plays of your child in whatever sport they're in, get you a Twitter account. I don't care how much social media savvy you are not, get a Twitter account.
And we're training parents on Twitter, so reach out to us.
Yeah, and what I would do is I would make sure I would introduce myself. I would tag that person who you're trying to get encounter with, and if honestly, if your kid is a senior, and if it comes down to it, I will pick 4 to 5 schools that I would personally focus on. I would send stuff for 2 weeks to them, and then after that, I would drive to that campus. I would drop off a jump drive or something and say, this is for Coach such and such.
Okay.
And they need to look at my my daughter or my son, because he needs to play here. And it has to do that. You got to do everything in your power to get your kid, like I said, recruited. But also, I'll say this. Let me say, parents, Now, I'm kind of scared to say this, but the good thing the NCAA has for this year, they have taken out that kids do not need an ACT score to get in school. That's kind of a good thing. They've
Jermaine,
also,
Jermaine,
yeah,
is that just specific states, or you're saying it's NCAA
no,
wide?
no, NCAA wide.
Okay.
That's NCAA. Also, from my understanding, usually you would need a 2.5 to get in. They've lowered it down to a 2.3 to get in. So everything's kind of in your favor right now as far as getting your kid to the next level. Now, parents, I don't care if you work 4 or 5 jobs, you better make some time, and you better call somebody, figure it out. You can hit me up on Facebook. I'll be more than happy. I don't charge because I was in this predicament. I had awesome parents. I had my mother, I had my grandfather and grandmother, but they just didn't know how to do it, right? Yeah. So I've been put in the position where I just want to help parents out. So inbox me all I can. I don't charge. I will try to get you set up as far as trying to get your child known.
And Jermaine, I have one more question. So what about the clearinghouse? Do they still need to do the clearinghouse?
You absolutely have to get the clearinghouse. And it's actually the clearinghouse who with the NCAA. Okay, so let me tell you. So the NCAA is over like the sporting aspect of everything, but as far as the academic and educational aspect of it, it's the clearinghouse. So as far as who's making the decisions, as far as the ACTs and the GPAs, that's the clearinghouse. Mm-hmm. And every athlete has to be cleared by the clearinghouse. What I would do, here's another suggestion. What I would do is every university, I don't care if it's Motlow State University basketball or University of Alabama, every university has an academic advisor. I would try to get in contact and keep relations with the academic advisors, and you don't mess your kid up. I would get with the academic advisor along with your guidance counselor at your high school and figure out what exactly my kid needs, what's a GPA, what paperwork do they need to fill out to go to the next level. Because I have a lot, honestly, I have more relationships with academic advisors at universities because dealing with minorities, not just in Nashville, but everywhere, that's really what hurts is what happens is you'll have a kid that has a 2.6 GPA, but has a 2.2 core grade, and they have to go JUCO.
Right.
So you want to create a relationship with the academic advisor and your guidance counselor.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I hope that was helpful. We'll drop those NCAA clearinghouse link in our comments. Jermaine, said that you guys can reach out to him via Facebook, via Messenger, or however. Jermaine, is it Jermaine Dunlap on your Facebook?
FJ Dunlap.
So if we can drop that into our comments. Also, and parents, when you're getting this film, like invest in some good quality film with, an iPhone or iPad if you can. I'm not saying going out and buy one, but see if somebody can take some good film and edit that film for you. It makes a world of difference when you're sending it to these coaches. You don't want to send them grainy thing. They don't even know which one your boy is. They're trying to figure out if he's number 1, 2, or 38. So those are some good tips. Anything else, John?
Yeah, I would just say, this is free game. And Jermaine, we put your Twitter and your Facebook up there just so people can reach out. Because I think a lot of parents, they got the ambition, but lack of knowledge equals lack of power. So at least having that knowledge, they can get in the game. No ACT requirements, I think, will be a game changer for a lot of kids. But what we want to close out today is just this final.
Hey, John.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I hate to really, I really want to say this because this really disturbed me last night. This when I was listening to the school board meeting. I hope someone, if Dr. Battle, but someone can listen to this. I challenge Dr. Battle and others. From what I heard, they may say they do, but from what I heard, it seems like they're not connected with athletics. Because when I heard that young lady ask the question that a lot of kids are not going to be able to play this year because they lost the insurance, they had their company and they lost the insurance, and kids have to have personal insurance to play football, and Dr. Battle and others didn't know. Are you serious? You didn't know that the company who insures players we no longer have a contract with?
For the school system?
Yeah. There it was a question. And because a young lady said coaches reached out to him and said, hey, we got kids that are ready to play but can't play because they don't have personal insurance, and because of the company who the district contracted out with no longer represents the district. Well, when the question was presented, Dr. Battle didn't have the information, and then the another young lady was like, well, I have to, yeah, I don't know, I have to look. So that lets me, that once again, that lets me know y'all just look at sports as just a side act. It's like a side piece.
I do have a side piece. That's how we've been feeling. So I do have a question though. So sounds like there's not a direct liaison for sports in the school system, just like there's not a direct liaison with parents. And so my question is it that the coaches need to get together and have some type of association where, just the teachers union, they got plenty of clout. You know what I'm saying? With the school board. I mean, that's all they talk about is their relationship with school boards, and they're promoted and endorsed by the teachers union. And so does there need to be a coaches union?
Well, I brought that up. You have awesome coaches in the community like Eddie at Cane Ridge, and I think Coach Fitzgerald is leading the charge. Man, I would love to see Coach Fitzgerald. I know he loves kids, love coach, but I love to see him, and he has an awesome wife. They have an awesome program for them to step up kind of in that role, because I think people respect Coach Fitzgerald's what he says, and also he has some respect and integrity in this community. And you're right. When that question comes up and there's no answers, and you're talking about playing this Friday, that lets me know that you're not connected to you're not connected. I mean, today
somebody's got to rise up and do it, because if we depend on other people to keep us connected, then we'll never have a role. We'll never have a say so. So I want to encourage the coach. I think that there's a few, or I think that Harriet's husband and Coach Fitzgerald are doing some things together, and maybe that's an agenda item that can be suggested with them, is that the coaches, they've got a good little program that they're starting off. It's Coaches Against Violence. And I mean, maybe that's something that all of those coaches can collaborate on, put together an agenda, put together a 3-year strategic plan, and create some type of coaches union. Because these kids got to be insured. These children can lose their life with one hit. And that's
can I say that? And I was telling somebody earlier, that's what really upsets me about this, is how you're treating sports. Well, it's just football. And I'm like, last time I checked, I ain't seen nobody get paralyzed for taking an English test. I ain't seen nobody else like myself tear their ACL doing a science project. Football is serious. Basketball, softball, sports is serious. So these kids are putting their bodies and literally their lives on the line. So the same respect that coaches and schools ask the kids to take, it's time for the school board to take the same respect, and there needs to be an overseer over that.
Well, I'll tell you, that's they have 3 responsibilities. And one of the responsibilities is to make sure that there's academic achievement, making sure that they have a budget, and making sure that they had that one employee that they have, that they're making sure that that person is doing their job. And so it may not be on their priority list, but I'll tell you, academic achievement is not on their priority list. And so when you say, that it's surprising or it's a shame that sports are not a priority, I'm going to tell you something. Hell, academics ain't being a damn priority. And so the thing is, in any way that I can collaborate, or John can collaborate, or our organization can collaborate with you on, helping to have some type of liaison, then let us know. We'll be glad.
I definitely will, and I will get with you all off this, and more we move forward. I know you probably have information that will benefit us and the members of Alpha Phi Alpha as far as helping some of these programs out, and I'll get with Ty Lambdo over in North Nashville to see what schools they have adopted, and here's here in South Nashville. We'll do all we can to help out everybody that we can.
Now, I'll tell you what our campaign is real quick, John, because
Okay.
I think it's important to drop this right here. Our campaign is that all children be assessed, because what we know is that our children were already behind, okay? They're already behind, and that with COVID-19, it's a tornado, all of that stuff, you know, spring learning loss, summer learning loss, our children are at risk of losing out tremendously academically. And so we are campaigning, we are demanding, we are asking, we are putting our foot down to say these children need to be assessed. We need to know where they are. But let's talk about what we're going to do after we assess them. We need to put in place an individualized learning plan for children. It works on their strengths, it works on their weaknesses, it works on academic and non-academic. So we're talking about sports. Well, if you've got let's just say Jermaine, we've assessed you, right? We've assessed you. We know what's going on with you. You may have some deficits in math, may need a little bit more tutoring. We're going to set some goals. We're going to plan with, your parents, and we're going to plan with you, and we're going to put together a plan, academics. So let's just say also you want to go to college and play football. So also in your individualized learning plan, the non-academic piece is, okay, what does Jermaine need so that he can successfully meet his goal of going to college and playing football at Alabama, Roll Tide? So that is why we are demanding that all of our children, every single last one of them, have an individualized learning plan that addresses their individual needs. Another thing that this allows us to do is to use those resources, those wraparound services for families that are struggling the most, even at home. How do we help this child to be their best self and to reach their greatest potential?
Can I give you? So I was talking to John, and John, I don't know I forgot who you supported, but I'm going to tell you, and not to put everything on the school board, but I'm going to tell you what they're fighting against right now. Is as much as I love you, SB Lindsay, if you're listening, I salute you, but Carl Dean kind of messed the city up. And when I say he kind of messed the city up, he grew this city, but he gave a lot of these corporations tax breaks, 20-year land grants where they paid no taxes. You're talking about a 6.5 corporate tax that we have here in Nashville. Now, what that's meaning is as Nashville's growing and our school systems are growing out, and we're going from 25 to 27 to 30 to 32 to 33 kids in the classroom with one teacher, the funding's not there. Now you see Mayor Cooper is here now, wanting to raise a 34% property tax. Well, a lot of people are against, but there's somehow, some way we want to live in a high rise, but we don't want to pay for the high rise. So am I blaming everything on Carl Dean? No, you did a good job by growing the city, but somewhere your formula, you forgot to get us the money. And so I hear what you're saying. So just as much as we're talking about the school board, we also got to talk about city council. We got to talk about we got to talk about the funding. It's almost a shame and embarrassing that they have the audacity, as you said, our schools are failing, but they're talking about bringing a Major League Baseball team that we're going to have to pay for. We're going to have to build a brand new stadium. They're talking about renovating. They're talking about renovating the Titan Stadium. Are you serious right now? That funding needs to go to our teachers, needs to go to students, needs to go to, we're 800 between the sheriff's department and the police department. We are 800 policemen down. That's a whole nother conversation about defunding policemen. We ain't talking about that. But there's a lot of stuff here in Nashville and Metro that financially we just cannot afford. As high rises are going down, the Gulch is being beautiful, everything, but they're leaving out North Nashville. They're forgetting about Antioch. They're forgetting about the minority aspects of Nashville. When I say minority, I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about the have and have-nots. That's what I'm talking about.
That's black people.
So what we have to do, it aligns here. Just as much as we talk about the school board, we definitely got to talk about with the city council, and we got to make. Yeah, you're right. I see they talk about the soccer. We're bringing Major League Soccer. We're bringing all these, but the money's not there. And then people,
and you know what, and the money is not there because it has been mismanaged. But what we cannot afford is not to educate children. And so with our individualized learning plan, just to piggyback back on that, I believe that there's a way for us to even save money. Just think about this. So do you have a household budget? And I'm sure everybody that's listening,
yes, I do.
You understand that a household budget saves you money, because if you manage your money, let's say you're not going to have overdraft fees, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you make a grocery list, right, you're not going to be as apt as to overspend in the grocery store like I do. I'm still working. The Lord's still working on me with that. But there are things that as you manage and you put into a plan, right? You put a plan into place, then what you tend to do is you stay focused on your priorities. And so with an individualized learning plan, what it does, it helps us to even know what resources we're even wasting with children. It helps us to know and meets different children's needs. So I believe that there is a way for us to even save money. There is Chattanooga is piloting, and we're going to put out more of this information as we keep doing our research, a program for individualized learning plans. So it's working in other places. It's working in other places across the country. And this is the thing. We've got to move in an urgent matter, because what I'm afraid of, Jermaine, is what we're seeing is low attendance in high school. And I'm afraid that these kids are going to drop out of school.
But I agree with you. But once again, so let me give you an example. I know we're pushed for time. I believe everything you say. So let me give you an example about myself. I had a great aunt who left me a house, right? Praise God. She had a house. Here I am. I got a house. Everything looks good, right? Well, she went in a nursing home for 6 years. Well, as soon as I got the house, everything went ownership. Guess who came looking for that house? The nursing home. I'm gonna tell you why. She had a $60,000 lien on that house. So here I got to figure out. I got to talk. I got to figure out. I'm already in debt. I can't even do nothing with the house because I'm in debt. And thank God some things worked out where we were able to keep the house in the family. My whole point of telling that story is that's where we're at now. Everything sounds good, but we have a government who was left in debt. We have a government who was given a house with a lien on it. We have a government who we want to fund schools, but we put priorities on rebuilding Bridgestone, Titan Stadium, building up the Gulch, redoing downtown, giving these tax breaks. And as you pointed out when we first started talking, they have forgotten about the kids, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because minority kids in their eyes don't have a ROI. They don't have a return on investment for them. You want me to tell you what their investment is? That brand new jail that they built on Murfreesboro Road. Another brand new jail they're trying to build in between Jolton and Whites Creek. That's their return on investment.
And that's why we can't let up. And that's why we can't get them. That's why we can't let them make no excuses.
And that's why I said we just as much as I'm on the PTA boards and I'm pushing in my district, Fran Bush and other people. I'm also Joy Styles. I really want to know what you're doing, what you got going on, because I'm in the Antioch area. I want to know where's the funding at. I had a great relationship with Jacoby McDowell when she was there, and I get it. We got Bridgestone, a brand new over in Antioch, but also Antioch is all these apartments are getting run down. So.
Yeah, we got a lot of fighting to do, brother. We got a lot of fighting to do.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate. I
love you, man. Love you. Love your spirit. Love your relentlessness.
Yeah.
And parents, thank you guys for chiming in. I mean, we got a lot of comments. I think this is the longest we have run it, but I appreciate you guys. Sonia, we got about 2 minutes. Anything you want to close us out on?
Yeah. Thank everybody for joining. I see Yvonne. I see Tasha. I see who else? I see John. I'm looking. I see Tiara. I see Shanta. I see Jamel. Who else on here? Angela. Shout out Torvis. I got to shout out my people. I'm sorry. I take a minute. Natalie, welcome. Emmett, welcome. Gary, welcome. And Erica, welcome. Just want to just say hi, because you are the people in which we represent. And so thank you for joining us every week as we have these candid conversations. This show was created to talk about the issues that parents and grandparents care the most about. And so thank you. If there's any subjects or topics that you would like for us to discuss, please inbox us. We're here every Wednesday at 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, on Mondays, we give a weekly update to talk about the current events in education on September the 28th. And now, John, I'll let you do that. Talk about September the 28th.
Okay. So the last thing on September 28th, we have the pleasure to welcome Christian Buggs, who is our school board chair, to come to the platform Monday evening to talk about what's going on in MNPS. I know we want to talk about equity, think around the discipline policy, but she also will get out information on what's happening with our timeline and questions that parents may have. This would be an awesome opportunity. So tune in, check in with our organizers, Torvis, check in with Tierra, check in with Shaka, and they can give you details on how you get on the platform. But thank you guys for that.
All right.
All right. We'll see you next week.